If you control no effect monsters, you can special summon these from your hand, and if you banish them from your hand or graveyard,
there are some effects.
If you control a non-effect monster, retrieve one of your banished worms. Special summon a non-effect monster that was destroyed by a battle or card effect while also destroying an opponent's monster. Negate an effect that would target a non-effect monster you control. Drops an opponent's monster attacked by 1500 if it's attacking your non-effect monster. And bounce a card your opponent controls if you control a non-effect monster. These are the non-effect monsters for reference. So as we've seen already, there is an incessant mention of non-effect monsters on effect monsters. I didn't get to the rest of the cards yet, but I do understand if some of you think they are
terrible
based on what you've heard thus far. Face-up non-effect monsters on the field are unaffected by monster effects, and if your opponent special summons an effect monster while you control a non-effect monster, you can draw 2 cards. Most likely your opponent will not summon on your turn
and before Phantasma or Azathoth.
So when you activate this, it'll do
nothing!
For this to amount to anything, you need to control Big Boy, and even then, it's only protected by monster effects. I get it though, the effect monsters are used to summon the links, then are supposed to protect Big Boy. If it gets targeted, you can negate the effect. If it dies, you can bring it back. If your opponent tries to attack into it, you can drop their monster by 1500. And no, I didn't forget they have an Infirmity Barrier Light card,
which is nice and all.
However, this is still a field spell that does nothing upon activation with marginal protection. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's bad. Maybe I am. I just feel like a non-effect monster should have more protection than the average monster, considering it can't protect itself and relies on other cards to do so. But maybe it is enough protection. I'd rather just have more protection than needed, because you never know what could happen. So even if I don't use all the protection, I would like to be able to say with the utmost confidence,
I'm strapped in!
That's just me though. You can discard a card, then target a worm in your grave. Your special summon also can't activate the effects of monsters that was special summoned from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except Tianwei. I'm going to take a stab and say you use this to revive a worm, then use them to link summon Big Boy, since it does require a link and all. When an attack is declared involving your face-up non-effect monster, you can target a card your opponent controls destroy. By her being an effect monster means she can't trigger anything in the archetype, nor can she be protected by anything in the archetype. That sucks. But look on the bright side. Generic link 2 worm. Woot! Ooh, look, a worm foolish burial that doubles as a rotor if you control a non-effect monster. That should come as a surprise too. So here's my thing. Focusing on non-effect monsters is fine. It's something that hasn't really been explored, but there is a such thing as focusing on something too much. There is no good reason why almost every single card in this archetype mentions non-effect monster. You could have literally replaced most instances of non-effect monster with Tianwei, or at least included it.
Think about it!
It would have pretty much achieved the same result while also allowing you to protect Sage. That's my biggest issue. Sage is important, and it would have been really nice for it to be protected or summoned back if it dies. But it having an effect is basically a bad thing, because Konami decided to say non-effect instead of Tianwei. It is a generic link for worms, I understand, but it is also part of this archetype, which is the focus of this video. And for this archetype, it makes little sense why she can't be protected by cards in her archetype. As far as everything else, I guess is cool. Whatever.
And with that being said,
thanks for watching. I'm just gonna ask if your dad shows up to click what to watch. What if you would like?
Help me! Help me!
Without spending your money, but my Patreon's in the description if you happen to be feeling just a little bit generous. Discord server link in description. Thank you very much. I appreciate you in a lot.